welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about our April wrap-up. I read so much in April and it was a fantastic reading month. I cannot express to you how good of a reading month that April was. I'm so excited. I definitely like toned down how many I was reading, although I still got through a lot, but I toned down how many I was reading and we focused a lot more on quality, I feel like, and it showed based on the ratings in this video. I'm so excited to get to this. But first, very quickly, I have opened up my membership. So if you were interested in that, I definitely would join down below. I've already posted a couple of videos and I do plan to post a new video with reading content every single week. And some of it is going to either be reading or just talking about general life things. And I will be doing some movie and TV review things over there as well. So definitely go check that out if you're interested. And thank you already to the many people who have already signed up. So I'm loving seeing that already. So that aside, let's actually get into the books that I read. Now there are two that I read that I cannot talk about yet because they are going to be in the Reading All My January Book Box books, which I am almost done. I'm about halfway done through that video and I do think it's going to pick up pace as we get through it because I'm almost done the third book, I think. So we're almost done. We're almost done. We got two more. So that should be coming out this month in May. So hopefully we can stick to that schedule. But the two that I can't talk about that I read for that video that we will talk about in the next one will be The Swan's Daughter and Graceless Heart. So both of these we got in the book box books for January. Just can't talk about them yet because it's going to be in that video. So, oh, I totally forgot I can't talk about this one either. So another one that I can't talk about is To Cage a Wild Bird. This is going to be in the Allurial Purge. I will give a little bit of a sneak peek. This was my worst book of the month. So you can kind of guess how I felt about it. So worst book of the month for April, but I can't really talk about it too much because I do talk about it in the Allurial Purge, which also should be coming out in May. There's a lot of stuff coming out in May. Okay, now actually talking about books that we can actually talk about. So my worst book of the month that I can actually talk about is actually Strange Buildings, and I still give it 3.5. Like that's the bar. Like that's where we're starting. Isn't that insane? 3.5. is where we're starting. I think I originally gave this a 4-star, but I pretty much have given them all 4 stars. And then after I read them, after it's been a couple of months, they get downgraded down to like about a 3.5, just because the appeal of these books for me is the actual solving with my friends things. So my experience with this book is a 5-star because I read it with my friends, Amy and Alyssa, and we spent hours talking about it. And is it actually like a really good book? Not really for me, but it's fun. Like it's really, really fun. So experience 5-star, actual book, I'm giving it a 3.5. But this is the third book in this kind of like series thing that's going on. And these are translated works. So I think these have already been out actually for like a little bit in Japan. So it takes a little bit for the translation process to happen. But yeah, so this is the third book. This one is following buildings. But if you guys don't know what this is about, it actually is like, there's like this like a bunch of files about strange buildings and you have this character who's trying to figure out why they connect, but you're given like things like that. So there's diagrams and you're trying to figure out why they connect. And this one actually was much more accessible than the other two. I think this one was way easier to solve than the previous two. So I would actually recommend this one above the other two that I've read so far. Next up at a 3.75, it's like, no, I'm giving it a 4. We're on 4s. We're on 4s. No, it's a 3.75. I have changed the rating of this book. It's anywhere between a 3.75 and a 4, okay? It's the rating has been changed so many times. It could change again when I actually continue in the series, which I do plan to do. But we do have Mistborn, the first book in the Mistborn series, and I enjoyed it. I do think a lot of my problems were the hype was just so big around this book, and I just didn't feel strongly about anything that was happening in this book. So I still think it was like a really good book. It was really well written, but I do prefer Elantris better. I actually moved up Elantris into S tier books for me. Like it is a favorite of all time. I loved Elantris and I think it mainly had to do with how interesting the world was and the characters. And in this one, I just didn't get that yet. And I'm sure when I continue with the series, it may get there, but I just wanted to feel that. I wanted to feel these connections to these characters and I haven't yet. I have not felt any strong connection with them. But yeah, it's following our main characters, mostly Vin, I believe, and Kelsier, and it's a heist book. It's a heist book, but they're trying to figure out how to take down basically the government or the ruling families that are corrupting the city. And there's a really cool backstory. I do have to say, this has one of the coolest backstories. So the idea is that the world, or the overall ruler, is a chosen one. Like, they were the prophesized chosen one from these fantasy series. So basically, a whole fantasy series happened before this book, and that person won and they took over, and it turned out to be a corrupting kind of thing. So that's fascinating. And you actually learn their story through like journal entries and stuff. And I think that is easily my favorite part of this book. I thought that was amazing. So I'm really excited to see like where this book continues, but I'm not like chomping at the bit to continue like I was after Elantris. Like after Elantris, I was like, I need to read the next one. I need to continue in the Cosmere. After this one, I'm like, yeah, I'll continue when I get the chance. So good. Didn't meet my expectations. To be honest, I don't know if it could have. I honestly don't know if it could have met my expectations because they were so out of control high for that book. Next up, we have a cute little graphic novel. It's actually volume 3 of Castle Swimmer, and I think this is actually my favorite one so far. And so I kind of talked about it before, but this is just a really, really cute graphic novel series that I've been getting on NetGalley now for I think 3 years. So this is the 3rd year I've gotten in a row. I really enjoyed the first 2. I really liked this one. We met some new characters in this one, but it's following the Beacon, and it's basically just this kid, and he has been given this job of being the person who solves all these prophecies, and he's dragged to these areas where these people need his help, and he doesn't know what to do. Like, he wasn't given any guidelines. He wasn't told how to do anything. He just was born this way and is being forced to try and solve everybody else's problems, including potentially being sacrificed, being kidnapped, etc. So the whole story is about that. So all 3 volumes so far have been following him as he's slightly getting older. Like, he was older in the most recent one, but he's trying to find himself. And at the same time, we're also following someone from one of the tribes who has a deadly prophecy and a curse on them, who needed the beacon, and we're following the son of the queen, and there is like a little relationship between them, and it's really, really cute. Like, oh, it's so cute. So I actually would recommend these if you just want like a cute little graphic novel to read. They're very quick. I definitely would recommend them. They're very fun. And that is a 4-star. We had a lot of 4 stars this month. So next 4-star, we have The Future Saints. This was in my reading 5-star predictions for Shop My Shelves. Ah, man, this was so close. This was so close. It definitely has Taylor Jenkins Reid vibe. However, I think this made a definite error. So this is following our main character, Hannah, who is the lead singer in a band that is failing because grief has kind of overtaken everything about her life, and she is not functioning very well. She is crashing and burning and taking the band with her. And then the other perspective we're following is actually the male band manager, who is actually trying to rise this band back from the dead just to get one more studio album out of them for his company. And so it turns into the relationship between the two of them. And I actually think it's the biggest weak point of this book, because Hannah is so interesting, and her storyline with the person who died is gut-wrenching, horribly sad, but like a big thing that people deal with all the time. And so when she's dealing with that, because she's talking to this person in her head, and it's heartbreaking. I really, really, really wish that the band manager didn't exist. Like, he could exist in her like point of view, but I wish that we weren't getting his perspective. Instead, what I wanted from this book was actually the person who died. They died like 10 months ago, I think is what it was. I would love to have one perspective be Hannah's, which is present day, her dealing with it, current, and then one like 12 months ago, 2 months before this person died, and following them and their direct relationship with Hannah and what happened leading up to the death, and then meeting there with like resolution at the end. That's what I wanted. That is what I wanted. I think that would have been so emotionally impactful. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. It would have been a 6-star book. It would have been amazing. I think the romance cheapens this book. It really does. Like, you set up Hannah's perspective in such a fantastic way. It's about grief, it's about depression, it's about addiction, and it cheapens it by adding this weird romance in there that doesn't need to exist. So that's what I would have loved to have seen from this book, but I do think this is a very promising book from Ashley Winstead, because I think generally she does mystery thrillers more. So going into contemporary fiction, I'm very happy with how this turned out. I just think it could have been adjusted a little bit to be more impactful. So 4-star, still very much enjoyed it. just really sad because it could have been a favorite. Next up, we have a book that I just read, and it actually was for my members. This was the bonus book for my members for Shop My Shelves episode 2. Is it 2 or 3? Anyway, 5-star predictions. This was a 5-star prediction. It was not, but it was close. I do think I like this one better. I do like this better than Her Last Breath, but that's because I understood what this was. Like, I went into this with the right expectations. I talked about it before, but Her Last Breath, I think I would have loved if I'd went into it with the proper expectations, knowing it was more of a mystery, less of a thriller. This I went into, it's a thriller. It 100% was a thriller. It was very intense. I think where this one failed a little bit was the reveals towards the end. So this is a stalker story. We have our main character who left a bad review for this extreme horror author, and the author starts fighting back, and it turns into her home alone in an isolated space being stalked by somebody. Very tense. I would say the first 30% was 5 stars, amazing, scary, legitimately scary, but we saw the stalker too soon. They did not stay cloaked for very long, and I think that's where a lot of the tension left the book, because the beginning of the book was very tense. I couldn't put it down. I was freaking out, and then we kind of like met the person, and it was like, oh, okay, like we now have face to the person, so it's kind of like, okay. So I do think he should have drawn that out more. I think that makes a really good stalking story, intruder story, where you don't see them and you don't know their motivations for a long time. And that just makes such a scary book. And unfortunately, this one did not do that. But otherwise, it still was really, really good. Like, this was a very good follow-up to No Exit. I'm very happy with this one. Now all I have left is Hairpin Bridge, which I have not heard great things about. So 4 stars. Another 4-star and a complete surprise. We have Morsel, which is a cute little, I say cute. It's not cute. This is a horror novella, and man, horror novellas just hit. They hit. I love them. I actually also ordered this from, I pre-ordered it from a little bookstore that was doing some pre-order incentives, Loganberry Books. So it says, thanks, Kimberly. And then they had a sticker. So it's a cicada sticker. And then I love the bookmark. You have a little bug bookmark with Morsel on it. And then just on the back. Fun, very fun. This is good. This is good. What are some of the blurbs on the back? One hell of a grim and visceral Appalachian nightmare. That's a very, very good way to say that on the back. Like, very much so. Equal parts folk horror and pyramid scheme. Yes, yes. It feels a little bit like if you mash Guillotine and Bloom together a little bit, because Bloom's got more of the folky feel to it, even though it's farmer's market horror. It's got more of a like folk feel to it, and then Guillotine's got that kind of humorous over the topness to it, and that kinda is what the vibe is here. It's still very different than other things that I've read. So it's following our main character, who is part of this like weird company, and her coworkers are very into wellness and they're always trying to get her to join their MLM, and so she ends up struggling. So something happened. There's, again, a lot of grief involved in this story, but something happens and she ends up not doing great at her job. Like, she's taking care of her sick mom. She just keeps falling off at work, and so her boss finally says, okay, I'm gonna give you a layup. I'm gonna give you an easy job. I'm gonna have you go out. I'm gonna have you survey some land for me, part of our like community outreach kind of stuff that we do for our company. We love doing this type of stuff, but I can't get out to all the properties, so I'm going to send you out to some of these properties. Just follow my instruction very carefully, because they are a little bit out in the woods, because it's for nature preserves and stuff like that. So I'm going to send you out into the Appalachian Mountains. Already know it's bad, and I need you to survey this land for me and report back. So she goes out into the middle of nowhere, and obviously shit goes bad, like real bad. And again, this equal parts folk horror and pyramid scheme. Literal perfection, like literally. So this was close to a 5-star. The ending was a little ambiguous for me, because I actually was taught, because my friend also read this. Amy also read this, and we were kind of talking about the end, and I read the ending different than she did. And I think that's why I gave it a little bit lesser of a rating, just because I wasn't sure about the ending. But this one I kind of want to reread, especially the ending, because it was insane. The ending was insane. But I loved the vibes of this. I think this is really good. If you want to read a horror novella with a folk feel and Lost in the Appalachians, I would recommend this. It is a gory, bloody fun time at the end. Next up is actually a massive surprise, and it is the Alice Feeney, my husband's wife. I really was expecting to hate it. I only read it because one of my friends read it and said it actually was pretty good, especially compared to their last couple books. So I was like, okay, this has got to be the last chance. This has got to be the last chance. I was expecting to go into this hating it, do a whole video on how much I hated it. No, I kind of love this book, actually. I did give it a 4-star. It was really fun. It was very tense. It was very mystery laden. I feel like up to the very end, you were kind of trying to guess what was really going on, who was who. Very unreliable narrator, but in a way that actually worked. It actually worked for the story. That was the problem with the Beautiful Ugly. Is that what it was called? I don't remember. Her last book was atrocious, but that one didn't work. That was unreliable narrator in a way that the author was lying to you. This was unreliable narrator in a way that actually was like, oh, that was good. That was really good. So I definitely enjoyed this one. There was a moment at the end that I gasped and I was like, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. It was so rude, but it was so good at the same time. So I actually really enjoyed this one. This one is following our main character who is trying to solve disappearances that are going on in this little town. It's been a while since I read this one. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened in it because I kind of like read through this one really fast. And my mind is not great at remembering thriller mysteries because like my brain is like you read them and then you enjoy them and then you kind of let them go. So mystery thrillers, I never remember that well. But yeah, we're following a detective and she is trying to figure out what is going on because there's like disappearances, supposedly dead bodies, other things going on. And there's a lot of overlapping layers of things happening and it's all in like this smaller town. And so I very much enjoyed the vibes, enjoyed the storytelling. There were a couple things you had to be like, that might not make total sense, but it's okay. It's okay because everything else was done really well. I kind of let go of a couple of the little things that were a little bit funky, but I did enjoy this one. I thought it was really good. I would recommend this one actually. Next up, and also a 4-star, even though this is a 5, I've talked about this before, 5-star series, 4-star every single book. Pretty much has been a 4-star. I think actually legitimately every book has been a 4-star, but the actual overall storyline is a 5-star. And obviously it is the next dungeon crawler, Carl, the Eye of the Bedlam Bride. This one was fun. This one is a fun one. I feel like they are getting better and better. This one was complicated though because the system in this one was crazy. Like the magic system and what they had to do. It was basically Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Digimon, whatever, card. They had to play cards against each other and collect cards. And that was crazy trying to like understand exactly what was going on, but it was great. Again, this is the 6th book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I tried to say that about 5 times. That never came out right. So 6th book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, and obviously I can't really talk about it, but it is following our main character Carl, and he is traveling around this dungeon with his cat, Princess Donut, who is pretty much running the show, to be honest. And they are stuck in this dungeon in this like alien kind of situation where they run a death game, and we're on book 6. So we're getting through the floors. We're going down the floors. So book 8 is about to come out, I believe, this month, which is exciting. I think I already have it on pre-order. I don't actually remember. I could have like 4 copies pre-ordered. I have no idea. Very excited. So we are on book 7 currently. And again, it's just a fun time. I would recommend these. If you are going to read these, I would say listen to the audiobook. Masterfully done. The audiobook narrator is Jeff Hayes. He is insane. And then Travis Baldry also is narrating some parts as well in these later books. So that's actually also really great. He has a great narration voice as well. 4 stars, still enjoying my time reading it, still want to reread them to get more details because sometimes they're just so dense that I need to reread them to get all the details that are happening. And then we get to our 5 stars. I have 3 5 stars this month and they're all so different from each other that it's hard to say which one I like the most. I honestly don't know. Like I'm really struggling. I think I know which one is a 5-star, and I think it's because I didn't hesitate. The other 2 I would say are actually soft 5 stars, and this is a definite 5 stars. So let's talk about the soft 5 stars first. So we have Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read this for my Shop My Shelves video, 5-star prediction. It would not have been a 5-star prediction video without Atmosphere. So that was kind of nice that I did end up waiting to read it in that video. good. It is very good. It made me cry. I do have a little bit of a problem with the storyline here, just for the fact that, yes, Taylor Jenkins Reid books are cry factories. Like they are, but I've always read her books knowing that I was going to cry, but knowing that it would be very organic to the story. Like the books were never trying to make you cry. I feel like this book's aim was to make you cry based on what was happening. And I don't love that. I don't love emotional manipulation in books where it's like, it feels like the purpose of the book was to make people very sad and to make them cry and see how hard you could make them cry. So that is like my biggest beef with this book. But storyline's great. It really is. I don't know how she does it. The writing is masterful. I do think, again, this is a soft 5-star because of that little piece of beef I've got with it, but also because I will say this is the weakest main character. I was pretty disappointed with that. I didn't love the main character. I loved everything she was doing and the things she was saying, but I'm also giving a little bit of benefit of the doubt because the character doesn't seem to know who they are either. Like they live to serve everybody else in this book. They don't do anything for themselves until they start this space program. And even after that, they're still doing stuff for everybody else and not focusing on themselves. So I do think there was almost an intentionality to it, making her not the most interesting character because that's who she is. But it did not make for the most compelling character, and like you didn't feel much for this character. You felt more for the situations going on around the character compared to actually feeling for the character. So it's still great. I ended up liking the storyline with the niece better than even the astronaut storyline, which I wasn't expecting because I don't really like kids, but the storyline with the kid, oh my god, it's so good. That's what made me cry like more. Although the ending of this book is so rude. This book almost ends very abruptly. It ends very abruptly. It's something happens and you're like sobbing and you're sobbing, and then the third to last line in the book, they say something and you're just like, that was rude. That was rude. The end of this book is legitimately incredibly rude to readers, but I do think overall it is an incredibly solid story. It is lower on my Taylor Jenkins Reid rating, but I do have it above Malibu Rising and above Daisy Jones in the 6. So I think it's still Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Carrie Soto is back. Then I think it's Atmosphere, then Daisy Jones in the 6, and then it's Malibu Rising. So that's kind of my order right now. So I mean, it's still really good. I just had a couple more problems with it than I did with my top 2 favorite from her. Then I know this is going to be a surprise, but this is a soft 5-star. I thought this would be like, oh my god, favorite book of the year. But I did have a couple of, not issues with it, but it's just not my style of horror. So the fact that I gave it a 5-star is still amazing because I'm not a cosmic horror girl. Like that's what happened with the Anti-Memetics Division. Anti-Memetics Division is like one of my favorite books ever, but I didn't like the ending because of how cosmic horror it went. Same with The Dead Take the A Train. First 70% of The Dead Take the A Train is one of my favorite books ever, like 6-star book. And then the ending was very cosmic horror and it kind of lost me. A Lonely Broadcast. Loved 70% of that book, and then I got cosmic horror at the end, so it was downgraded to a 4. The fact that this one still somehow got a 5, even with that cosmic horror aspect at the end, is pretty astounding. So that's why it is a soft 5-star, because I still wasn't super sold on the level of cosmic horror that happened at the end. The Caretaker, I did read it. Okay, so this... Obviously, I am coming out with a huge video for it. My best video that I've ever done on this channel was my review of We Used to Live Here and the breakdown. So I am doing a video just like it for The Caretaker. It was supposed to actually come out the 10th, but I am pushing it back to the 17th. So hopefully that video will come out May 17th, and we will be talking about The Caretaker. I got a lot of tabs. We will be talking about The Caretaker. We'll go through the entire plot of The Caretaker and theories, etc. And then there will be a section about We Used to Live Here afterwards. So if you've only read The Caretaker, there will be a section just for The Caretaker, and then you can kind of go away from the video. If you've read both, then you can watch the whole thing. So I would recommend going ahead and reading The Caretaker if you do want to watch that. So I'm very excited. I'm very nervous. I am actually struggling with this one a little bit more than We Used to Live Here, because We Used to Live Here, we had one book that you had to interpret. Now we have The Caretaker that has added, it's not exactly aligning with some stuff that I felt about We Used to Live Here. So now I'm having to go back through We Used to Live Here and being like, oh, so that, what I thought that meant in the first book potentially doesn't mean that, because now that kind of was popped up in The Caretaker, and in The Caretaker it meant something else. So was I wrong about this, or are there different planes of existence? So it means something different in this book, but the same in this book. And it's just like, oh no. oh no. So there's been some conflicting things with how I'm trying to interpret things, and that is why it's taking me a little bit longer, because I need to do a lot more research, a lot more thinking, a lot more combing through both books. So hopefully the 17th. But anyway, if you want to read this one separately, this is following our main character who has taken a caretaker position at this kind of weird house. It's just an overall weird situation, and the job list is on Craigslist, which also is like already really sketchy. So obviously she takes this job, and the big thing about this job is there are rules to follow, and if she follows the rules, everything will be fine. If she does not follow the rules to a T, everything is going to go to shit, and obviously everything goes to shit. So I love this. It is rules-based horror, which is so much fun. It is cosmic horror. It is a little bit of forest horror, a little bit of the invasion story. It's a lot. Like, there's a lot of different things going on in this book, but it is creepy. It is intense. It is very thrilling. I do think We Used to Live Here is better, but I can see why a lot of people are liking The Caretaker better. So for me, I'm a haunted house girl though. Like, I love a haunted house. So that's kind of why that one won a little bit for me. And again, this does have a cosmic horror aspect to it. So still loved it. Obviously gave it a soft 5-star. I think it is a brilliant follow-up to We Used to Live Here. So I cannot even imagine what Marcus Kleber is going to come up with next, because this was crazy. This was insane. So May 17th, that video is coming out. So if you want to watch it, I would recommend trying to pick this one up. And it is great. I would recommend this, even if you aren't trying to like dive deep into this one. This one is still fun on its own. No research necessary. And then I believe this is our favorite book of the month. I do. And I think the first book in the series also won favorite book of the month. And it is Wondersmith. I didn't even have to think about this book being a 5-star at the end of this one. It was automatically like, yeah, that's a 5-star. It's a 5-star. This is so good. Like, the series is so good. I still need to read the third book, I think, Hollowpox. I do own it. I did buy it. I probably will read it in May. I love these books. They're so good, and I loved what happened. I did guess it was happening, but like, that didn't ruin anything. But I loved what this one did. It was very fun. More character interaction, which I really enjoyed. We actually got to see like more of the schooling aspect side of things and classes. And like I said, new characters that I really, really like. There's some really fun new characters. And okay, so there were like 2 twists. Like, there was one thing that was happening throughout the whole story that you were trying to figure out that was going on with the kids. And then there was like an overarching story, and that shocked. I could not, but I gasped when it was revealed, and I was like, I did not see that coming. It was so good. It tricked me. It fooled me. Obsessed. Love it. Love the floppiness of this book. So yeah, I so would recommend the series. I can't wait to read Hollowpox. So favorite book of the month. Very happy with that. And I've already read a 5-star for May. I've already finished a book for May that was a 5-star. That's an S tier, so I'm really excited about it. I'm having a great time. I'm having a great time reading right now. I'm also currently reading another book that is also probably a 5-star in an S tier. For all these 5 stars, like, what is happening? Like, what's going on with all these? So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Definitely let me know down below what you thought about the books. Definitely let me know if you read any of these, what you thought about them, what you read in April. I love seeing what you guys read in April and kind of like seeing what you liked, what you guys didn't like. So definitely, even if it's like the longest list ever, just leave the whole list. I love seeing what people read. And then I think if you've made it this far, I'm trying to think of something to leave as an emoji. Is there a pen emoji? Because she does like a lot of like classwork and stuff like that. So leave a paper, anything relating to school. Leave a school emoji in the comments down below if you made it this far into the video. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to miss any future content. As I said before, if you're interested in that membership, definitely join below. There's gonna be some behind the scenes stuff, all a bunch of stuff. I'm very excited. I'm very excited about, okay? Make sure you subscribe to miss any future content. I'll see you guys in the next video.